I see one person here. Maybe. All right. We're going to assume that people will figure this out. I adjusted the date to be the correct date for today. Um, yeah, I woke up yesterday feeling kind of off and decided we would skip yoga. Feeling better today. Um, Happy Wednesday, middle of the week, Inauguration Day, which is pretty exciting. Um, I guess, right, this is going to be the first president from Delaware, um, which is probably maybe the only maybe the only president from Delaware in our lifetime. I don't know. It's a pretty small state, so it's hard to know if we're going to continue to have a lot of representation there or not. I don't know. It's been a long time already, um, but that's pretty momentous. So, if you have an opportunity today to um, tune in, see what's happening, that probably would be good. Um, so, I wanted to talk a little bit about uh, this idea of change and peaceful change. And again, we're gonna touch on this idea of ahimsa, um, non-harming, non-violence. Big part of Indian philosophy. It would, um, as it relates to yoga. But it also was a big part of the civil rights movement. And I didn't really talk about Martin Luther King Day on Monday, but we'll sort of touch on that too. But so Martin Luther King was influenced pretty pretty heavily by um, the movement to free India from British rule. Um, and a lot of the methods that he used were kind of based on that. Um, this idea of nonviolent protest, and that violent means only bring more violence. Right? You aren't going to get a good result from bad methods. Um, if you want peace, you have to start living peace. You have to um, be willing to put everything on the line for peace. Um, and that seems kind of strange, right? I mean, I think people think of peaceful protest, pacifism as a very, well, passive, right? A very passive system. Good morning, Ruth. But it's actually it takes a lot of it takes a lot to be able to stand up in the face of opposition and be willing to put your own self on the line, your body, for something that you believe in. Um, Certainly, we saw that in our own civil rights movement and the movement trying to get independence for India. A lot of people were injured, a lot of people died. Uh, it's not it's almost inevitable that that's going to happen when you are fighting against um, some sort of violent group. I mean, it's going to happen, um, and that's the hard part, right? That's where the strength has to come in. Are you going to put your values really to the test? Um, Not everybody has to get out there and put themselves physically in the path of danger, right? But I mean, there are people who are going to do that. Um, so if there are people who are going to do that, what are we going to do? Right? Maybe we aren't going to do that. But if there are people willing to die for their belief in other people's freedom, um, maybe maybe we could stand up when we hear someone say something that is offensive, racist, sexist, obnoxious, right? Abusive. Maybe we can say, hey, that's not okay. Maybe we can risk maybe we're not risking ourselves physically, but maybe we're risking our friendship with someone or our relationship with someone. Um, what's it worth, right? What are your values worth compared to um, how you want to see yourself, right? These are good questions to ask. Um, and you may not even be there, right? I mean, not all of us are, right? You may be in a situation where you can't do that. So what do you do instead? Maybe you just live your principles. Hi, Susan. Oh, great. Registered for the 65 plus vaccine today. That's true. Yeah, that is going to be available. So that's pretty good. I know my husband is works for Christiana, so he's been involved with some of the logistical planning that they're trying to do. They're working with the state to try to really roll out the vaccine in a very big way. So there will be lots of drive-through uh, vaccination things going on throughout the next coming weeks. So um, if you are in the group that is designated, you should absolutely sign up and get out there and get that done. So yeah, um, there's never going to be change without struggle and without sacrifice. That's the truth of it. And I guess the terrible truth is that that's what makes the change, right? It's when everyone sees what this what this violent thought, what this negative and destructive thought has come to, right? What is the end result? You know, I mean, we can talk about um, what happened at the Capitol, right? I mean, it was a terrible thing, but it was almost inevitable. It's the inevitable result of telling lies, getting people stirred up. Um, that is the result, right? I mean, it's almost like I remember when my kids were young and you'd say, okay, don't do this because this is going to end badly, right? And they would do it anyway. And then they would be shocked and amazed that you could predict the result. But yet we can, right? I mean, we can see how things progress. If you do this, this is going to happen. So we have, we set ourselves on certain trajectories, and maybe we can tolerate how it is right now because we haven't seen the end result. But when we get to the end result, everyone is horrified, right? People are horrified to see what happened. And then things change, right? People say, okay, we don't want this. We need to take steps to make sure this doesn't happen again. Um, and sadly, right, with a lot of our big changes, we had to get to a real crisis point before things would start to move in the correct direction. So don't despair. I guess maybe that's maybe that's a good message. Um, when things get bad, know that we're maybe going to be on the mend, right? We're going to start moving back um, to something more sensible. But as a society and on a personal level, a lot of times things do have to reach a real crisis point before we are willing to take it seriously. enough to make changes. I think we reached that point with our with our government, with our society, and I hope we're going to start creeping back toward a kinder, more equitable um, place. I hope. Um, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, but this is um, part of ahimsa, right? Ahimsa is not doing nothing. Ahimsa is very actively maybe trying to prevent suffering, prevent other people's suffering, right? And that may mean that you are going to suffer as a result. It doesn't mean, that nothing bad is ever going to happen. You may be in the path of that. You may put yourself in the path of that, to prevent that from happening to someone else. Um, and that is something that, you know, again, I think I've mentioned this Gandhi quote, right? I have um, I have beliefs that I would die for, but none that I would kill for. So um, we may put ourselves in harm's way if need be, um, but we cannot harm, right? Um, and we've talked about this too with ahimsa, this idea of, you know, is it okay to kill? You know, I mean, it's okay to defend. It's okay to put yourself in a position where you're defending someone else. It could be defending yourself, yeah. Um, but these are strict, you know, these are not they're not likely scenarios. But um, people like to spin things out to the very end, right? This idea of, how far can we go with this? Um, Hopefully, we will never have to find that out, right? But again, we are aligning our actions with what is right, um, and working in harmony of what is best for everybody, not just ourselves. Um, Setting aside whatever sort of selfish desire that we have, and working for, the greater good. Um, so let's keep that in mind. Um, Positive change, being kind, not harming, um, standing up, right? Standing up for our beliefs, um, to whatever extent we can, right? Um, if you feel that there are things that you can't stand up for or you can't say, um, I mean, that may be the case, but that's something you want to think about, right? What relationship is worth living a lie, right? And when you don't stand up for your beliefs, you are living a lie. You are enabling a sort of false narrative to go on. So a lot of people avoid, right? Avoid speaking out because they don't want the conflict. Um, but when we allow these things to go on, these falsehoods, these abusive activities, we are, enabling. We are um, giving our sort of tacit approval. So, and I would say, like, I see this a lot on social media, right, where people are ignoring um, the straight up lies that people post, right? Things that don't have any real basis in reality. Um, if you feel like you can't call people out, message them, right? Let them know that what they're saying is not okay, and that you aren't, you don't think this is the right place for it. You don't think that spreading false information is a good idea. If they don't like that, well, too bad. They can block you. You could block them. I mean, whatever you want to do. Um, but honestly, I got to tell you, I'd almost just recommend you get off social media altogether. I don't think I don't think it does much good. I don't spend much time on it. I think it's in many cases it enforces just a worldview that may not be very healthy for any of us. Um, I would stick to getting your information from reputable sources. Um, not maybe sometimes I think we're better off not knowing all the crazy thoughts that go through all of our friends' minds. It was better when I didn't know. But yeah, you have to decide for yourself what your level of comfort is with that. But don't be afraid to speak out if you see something that is um, offensive to you or incorrect or clearly trying to mislead people. Um, I think a lot of people think it's a joke. They think it's, they're trying to be entertaining, they're trying to be funny. But as we've seen, what starts out as a joke, turns out to be uh, really destructive. So we want to be careful, ahimsa, with what we say, what we do, um, and just be kind. And if you see others being unkind, tell them. Um, I think sometimes people they don't even notice. They don't even know. Like there's such a habit in the way that they act that they're surprised almost to find out that other people are hurt by it, or it's it's making others feel unwelcome. All right, so um, let's uh, let's do some yoga. Right? Some asana. Let's start out with some breathing. Um, let's do that uh, shorter inhale, longer exhale. 4, 8. I think they call it 4-8 breathing. I mean, there are other names for it, right? But so it's kind of maybe like 4 counts for the inhale, 8 counts for the exhale. Sitting up tall, relaxing. Breathing in through the nose, back out through the nose. So keep on with your breath in this fashion. So when we are breathing in, breathing out, this is slowing things down. We are kind of resetting the nervous system with this type of breath. bringing in some stillness into the body. So this is a great technique if you're feeling a little, wound up, a little overly anxious, or um, sometimes just overly stimulated. I find sometimes at the end of the day, if I've done a lot of screen time, or watching TV, or working online, that I am very sort of mentally stimulated, and it's hard to just turn that off and get to sleep. So doing a little breathing like this can kind of release some of that, get you back into the body and out of the head. Right? There's something that we are working on with yoga, with asana in particular, is this inhabiting the body, getting back into awareness of the body. A lot of times when we have just begun yoga, or we can also, if we've been away from yoga for a while, we can lose some of that connection between the body and the rest of ourself. So movement can feel awkward or strange. We want to kind of take that back. We want to become aware again of how the body moves, what the body can do, and really inhabit that. This is what grounds us. This is what takes us out of our heads and our sort of our intellect, right? Um, and for many of us, we live largely in our heads. We, as a society, have become much more mentally focused than physically, right? Most of our jobs are mental now; they're not all that physical. Um, Lots of reading, lots of thinking, lots of um, you know analyzing, working with our mind, which is great. I mean, this is a wonderful thing, and our minds are uniquely suited for that. But there has to be a balance, and when people spend all their time in their minds, they lose a very important part of this living in a physical body, which is the body, right? This is our vehicle. This is our way of interacting with um, the larger world. So moving the body and keeping that sense of uh, physical groundedness is very healthy for us. So taking the body outside, um, walking, moving, yoga, working through the range of motion, all super important. And as often as you can do that, doing that every day is ideal. Some form of that. Um, it doesn't have to be a massive amount, right? You don't have to go run a marathon every day, but you don't want to sit all day long, right? Get up and move. Um, do some stretching. Do some, pick a couple yoga poses that you love and do them, a couple times a day, especially if you've been sitting for a long period of time. I think they say, don't stay still for more than like an hour, or even, less than that. Get up and move around. Don't um, don't get stuck, right? So, you know, this idea of the inertia, and I think as we get older, it kind of sets in this idea that um, we lose this ability to just keep going. Um, we get more and more, rigid in our bodies and in our minds, our thoughts, our ideas, right? I mean, it's very easy to get stuck and to think that, here we are and this is it. But things are always changing, and circumstances are changing, bodies are changing. We got to go with it. So, a body in motion stays in motion. If we stop, uh, getting moving again is so hard, right? Overcoming that inertia. So let's never get there. Let's just keep going all the time, but not frenetically, but um, mindfully, right? So sitting up, just coming back to that regular breath, um, in and out. So in a normal breath that we do with the yoga, we're going in and out through the nose. Um, and it's roughly equal, but we don't usually pay that much attention to the length. Just try to keep breathing through the nose. Let's lean forward and move around. One way and then the other. Back up. Drop the chin. And then lift. Let the head drop back. Drop the chin again. And then head drops back again. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. Sometimes we start, lifting the shoulders up. Keep them low. Head back to center. Take a breath in, lowering to the right. Then moving left. Moving right. And moving left. Back up. Let's walk the hands out in front. And then hands behind. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Gaze up. Back to your seat. Bring the hands on the knees. We're going to do a little seated cat-cow. So leaning forward, we're pulling the shoulders back, gaze up. And then reversing that. So, pardon me, we're drawing the belly in, curving the shoulders forward, gazing down. Inhale. And exhale. It doesn't have to be a big, exaggerated movement. It could be, quite small. Just see where things are flexible today. And then back to your seat. Let's lift the arms, shoulders, roll back, and then forward. Right hand on left knee, left arm behind you, sit up tall. Take a deep breath and twist. Back to center, switch sides. to center. Let's extend the legs. We're going to point and flex the feet. Rotate them. One way and the other. And then we're going to bring the legs wide on the mat. Take a breath in. Walk the hands out. Back up. Bring the legs a little wide or a little closer. So maybe the width of the mat. Again, folding forward. Back up. Let's bend the right knee. We're going to drop it out to the side. The foot is up against the left leg. And then we're going to turn. So body's facing the left leg. Take a deep breath. Fold forward. Moving back up. Switch the legs. And then turn, facing the right leg. Take a breath and fold. And then walk the hands back up. Let's bring both feet together. Take a deep breath and lean forward. Moving back up. Let's have the left leg under with the knee pointing out. Right leg on top. See if you can get those knees more or less one on top of the other. And then we're going to hold on to the feet and fold forward. Feeling that stretch along this right leg. Coming back up. Let's move it around here. So left leg is on top. And fold. And then back up. Both legs out in front. Deep breath. Fold forward. And then back up. Let's point and flex again. Rotate one way and the other. So this is a great exercise if you have, I get this sometimes, like a real tightness in my calves. Certain types of shoes that I wear seem to give me more trouble than others, especially if I haven't worn that type of shoe in a while. So if you notice this is a really great exercise for that. Just pulling the feet back and forth and then rotating through. And you can do it, any way. If you can do it seated, but you could also do it just sitting in a chair, right? You could do it with knees bent. It doesn't have to be extended legs, right? And then let's have soles of the feet to the mat. We're lowering down. Feel relaxed here. Take a few breaths. Let's hug that right leg in. Left leg long. And then maybe extend this leg. So we can keep the hand where it is. If you want to move it up and hold on to a different part of the leg, you can. If you can catch the toe, that's fine. You're probably still going to have a little bend in the knee. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. See how it feels today. And then if you want to lower that out to the side, you can. Keeping the rest of the body flat on the mat. Coming back to center. Release it down. Let's hug that leg in again. Keep breathing. And then lowering just the knee out to the side. Coming back to center. Bring the knee across. We're rolling up on the left hip. Trying to keep the shoulders still on the mat. The right shoulder might come up some, that's okay. And then moving back. Let's extend the right leg and bring the left leg in. Keep breathing, relax. Extend the leg. You can hold on to the leg or maybe the toe. See how things feel. And if you want to lower out to the side, you can. Back to center. Bend the knee and we're hugging that leg in close again. Then lowering, knee out to the side. Breathe. Bring the knee to center. And then across the body, rolling up on the hip. And then back to center. Extend both legs. Let's bring them a little wide on the mat. Arms out to a T. 5-pointed star. Bend the knees. Let's bring the right ankle on top of the left knee. So however you like to do this, supine pigeon, you might be here, pressing that knee away, or bringing the leg in closer, whatever is your version of this. Keeping the feet flexed here is good for the knees, right? When we point or just relax the foot, sometimes the knee is not as engaged and things can move around. You may not have that problem. I sometimes have that problem. So I always try to keep the feet flexed, keeps everything kind of active in the leg. And then set it down, switch. And breathe. Both feet back down. Setting up for a bridge, we've got heels back close to the body, hands by your side. We're going to do just a regular bridge today. Pressing down, hands and feet. We're lifting up. Interlace the fingers if you want. Draw the arms under. You could do supported bridge, right? If you feel like that's your favorite today. And then lowering down. Let's bring soles of the feet together. Knees apart. You could bring the hands up over your head. That feels good. And then bring the knees into the chest. Let's hug them in. We're going to bring the hands right onto the kneecaps and guide the knees around to a circle. Moving one way and then the other. Then hands by your side, extend the legs straight up. And then we're lowering down, however you want to do that. Finding a peaceful place to rest on the mat. Moving into Shavasana. Keep breathing. Keep that peaceful, relaxed feeling in the body. So I like to call my classes gentle yoga, right? I think sometimes people are misled by that to think it means easy yoga, right? Um, some days the physical poses might feel easier than others, um, but there is nothing easy about yoga in general. Um, we are trying to work within our own uh, comfort zone. I don't even want to say comfort zone, right? I would like to see you out of your comfort zone. I would like to see you in your range of motion. So that's physically range of motion, but it's also mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Um, I want you to work through your range of motion. I want you to reach for things that might seem a little out of reach today. Maybe measure how far they are. I want you to stretch yourself a little. Know what direction you want to go in and take some extra steps that way. You can always back up if you've gone too far. If you've done a little too much, too fast, you can always step back a little. But don't be afraid to take that step, to go a little beyond what you always assumed that you wanted to do or could do. The world isn't changed by people standing still. It's changed by people willing to take that step, by people who don't need to see the top of the staircase to know the steps are there. So step out in faith. Um, be the change, right, that you want to see. I think a lot of times, we talk about things as if they were something separate from us, right? We talk about the government, we talk about society. Um, these things are nothing but a collection of who we are. If we are all one, then there is no us and them. There is no that group, this group. There is no, um, governed and ruled. We are all in this together. Um, and, when we persist in treating our political system like a sporting match, we're going to continue to see things in terms of winners and losers. When in truth, we are all the losers when things aren't working properly. So, what can we do to change that? Our attitudes is where it begins, right? Yoga is the world in a micro sense. So, what you bring into the world is what you have in your heart. Clean your heart, right? Tend your garden within, and you will have nothing but beauty to give the world. And it spreads. Right? We can't uh, we can't be held accountable for the actions of others, but we can be held accountable for our own actions or inactions. Right? Um, we don't have to change everybody we come across, but we do need to speak out to the extent that we feel comfortable. Living your truth doesn't mean hiding in a room. It means letting that truth shine out for others. So Don't be afraid to do this if you feel so called. Maybe you won't, and that's okay too, right? Um, Yoga is about bringing out what's within, not putting something on top of you that feels uncomfortable, that feels unnatural. But if you have that feeling within, if you have that stirring, go with it. See where it takes you. That's your path. That's your Dharma speaking. It is that opportunity knocking. Answer the door and see what's there for you. Moving now, fingers and toes, hands and feet. Making your way up to a seat. Let's bring our hands together. Breath in and breath out. Thank you for coming to your mat today for yoga and for sharing it with me. I hope that you have a most excellent Wednesday. Namaste. Okay, great. Hey, meditation, 5 minutes. Let's do it. So finding that gentle focus. So when we talk about that, it could be something like an image, something simple, not something that's going to cause you to have a lot of thoughts. Some people like to focus on like maybe a flower or I can't like the idea of it like a little flame, a little candle flame, or a color, like focusing on just a color, seeing a color. It could be a word, something like peace or um, let go or something along those lines. It could also just be a process of noticing how your thoughts are arising and letting them go. Um, it could be something completely different. It could be a mantra, right? A series of words. I don't know. Whatever works for you. But and it may be nothing. Maybe you're just going to hold this space in your psyche. That's fine too. Whatever. I guess what I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever works for you. But we're just trying to keep a nice relaxed awareness, not focusing intently on anything, just very loose, loose attachment to the thought, right? So we're sitting up, shoulders relaxed, being comfortable, just natural breath. And I have to get things set up because I didn't. Keep breathing. Okay, we're back. All right, so there's your Wednesday. So I hope you get a chance to watch the inauguration. Um, and I'm sending all of my best wishes to Joe and Kamala. Kind of exciting, right? To have somebody from Delaware and someone of Indian descent. I think that's super cool because I like India and Indian food. So it's pretty interesting. All right, so moving on. Enjoy your day. See what you can get done. See if you can um, take that step, right? Maybe step outside of your comfort zone and into your range of motion. See what comes of it. I'll be back tomorrow.